Hello, hello, hello. You guys hear me okay? How's everybody doing? You guys excited? I'm genuinely excited because so far... Wait, first of all, can everyone hear me? You all can hear me okay, right? Shit, how did I pop this shit out? Come on, man. Yeah, I'm genuinely excited because I think this is the first time in a minute that there... So, first of all, it's two things, right? So, I think Egghead as is, the animated scenes that have come out from it have been phenomenal. I obviously like the arc. It's still been my favorite arc post-time skip. We're in a tricky section right now where it's hard to say exactly. It's kind of got to stick the landing, and right now the landing is sticky. It's hard to explain. But for a good bit, I've had it as my favorite post-time skip arc. If it fucks up the landing, then maybe Whole Cake will replace that again for me. But at the moment, it's still my favorite. And a large part is because it's got a shit ton of crazy-ass scenes, right? A lot of crazy, memorable scenes. This episode being one of them. And I feel like every episode or anime bit that I've watched of Egghead so far, I've really, really enjoyed, at least on stream. It is actually that good. Is it good? It's really good. Is that good? All right. I'm excited. I'm seeing pretty much all positivity. I'm seeing Ceiling Stain saying Toei kill the pace as usual. Listen, that's just what they do. That's what they do best. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Ichi says Egghead is quite consistent quality-wise. I'm going to do a poll real quick. Because I'm curious about the anime, right? Is Egghead Island anime on average better paced than Wano? I'm curious, because I like Egghead Island arc, like, a lot, right? I could not imagine going back to watching the Wano arc in the anime just because it's all... Like, there were so many stretches of Wano where almost nothing would happen in a chapter, and then if almost nothing happens in a chapter, then that means in the anime adaptation, it's going to be almost nothing happening for 2 straight episodes, right? Egghead, I feel like every few chapters, there's something really exciting, so... And I felt like the pacing was cool for the episodes that I watched mostly. I think Zoro cutting the water fountain took an absurdly long time. But for the most part, I feel like it's been better. Okay, so the pacing is a little bit better. That's good to know. Maybe I could just watch more Egghead Island episodes. I could just do that. Morj sold me Fent. Thanks for the 2. Who has better observation hockey, Shanks or Trump? Shanks. Knut Worgen says the filler is better. Yeah, it's unusually good paced. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like, as I've been saying, I've genuinely enjoyed the episodes I've watched so far. And I think just the fact that they're willing to go that extra mile for random things like the Seraphim versus Zoro, that's really, really shocking and cool to me. I really, really like that. Gilfie says, Yo, Morj, can you put a timer when you press play so we can sync up our episode times? I don't know how to do that, but I will have the episode up on screen. It'll just be flipped and then turned upside down. So you can kind of tell what's going on. Oh, and I'm going to turn the opacity down a lot. And I'm going to turn off the audio. And it's going to be in the far corner. But you will be able to see things. I can promise that. BeatGamer99 says, just watch the hype shit. Yeah, I'm watching this. In a couple episodes, we should probably get the Garp Hachinosu raid beginning. I'm definitely watching that. Garp versus Aokiji should be starting soon. I'm definitely watching that. All the cool shit, I'm definitely going to watch. Reverie scenes. You guys are going to get a stretch of me reacting to the anime. That's for sure. That's definitely for sure. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Nighthawk says, episodes are shorter than other anime, at least better than unnecessarily stretching them. Yeah. I've said I'm not stirring up drama with the One Piece anime again. I know anime fans can be very, very touchy about it. We're just going to leave it at, I really, really hope that this remake... Do we have any news on the remake? I hope this remake comes out sooner than later. That's it. But I'll always say that the anime is great for highlight moments. I think the One Piece anime is great for highlight moments, that's for sure. Raffi D. Goat says, does Shanks have better observation than Fujitora? I don't think we've gotten any I don't think Fujitora can see the future from any of the things that we've seen, but it's entirely possible he has that up his sleeve. I mean, so if you take a look at, like, there are moments that suggest that the admirals at Marineford were using future sight. There are moments that suggest it, because they're doing the same thing that. So the thing that was talked about a lot when Luffy was fighting Katakuri was Luffy kept hitting Katakuri, but he was confused. Why are my attacks not? Let me show you guys. Real quick. Let me show you guys some shit. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. Let's just hold on a second. I'm gonna wait for some more people to hop in here before we get to the episode, but I will be watching shortly. Okay, so if we go to here. Where's Luffy fighting Katakuri at? Where's the hot Gatling shit? 880. Maybe around here. Not hot Gatling. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Luffy, maybe the previous episode. Previous chapter. There's a point where Luffy's punching Katakuri and it's just going through him. When does that happen? Maybe that's a little bit before. 8-7. Maybe it's when they're on the ship. Let me go back here. Okay, so they get on the ship. Luffy versus Katakuri, I'll maintain, was the coolest surprise matchup that we've ever had in One Piece. There was pretty much no one guessing that Luffy's fighting Katakuri when this arc was rolling around. Like, when this arc was in the midst of, its shit. Fuck, it happens at some point. Luffy's doing the Gatling. This is when he realizes that Katakuri's, like, moving his body around. Does anyone know this chapter? Does anyone know the chapter I'm talking about? When Luffy kind of realizes that, like, his Gatling stuff, his punches aren't going to work on Katakuri. Maybe it's the next one. Yeah, Vade312, thanks for the 5. Do you think that considering Lilith was the first person to introduce herself as Vegapunk, that Stella's consciousness will end up in her body? I don't think that's the way it works. I think that, because I don't think that they're all bouncing. I don't think consciousnesses are magically bouncing around. I think that it's supposed to be the idea that, there's only a piece of Vegapunk left. It's still Vegapunk, but it's only a piece of Vegapunk left. You know what I mean? I still think that it's, what do you call? I still think that the idea is that we are losing some aspect of Vegapunk for sure here. When does that shit happen? Jesus Christ. It's phase 2 of the fight? Kosh Panda happens earlier when they're on the Sunny. It's when Katakuri basically explains to him that he's moving his body around, right? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so this shit happens. Are you sure it's when they were on the Sunny? Man, I swear this is a thing. Here, let me move back to when they're on the Sunny real quick. 8. Arij is asking, who do you think we'll see in action sooner, Mihawk or Dragon? I think we will see... That's a really good question. I think we will... Okay, what do you mean by in action? What does in action mean? Okay, it might be a little bit earlier. What does in action mean? Rise is asking, did Morj ever react to the stuff he's seen in the anime like he said he would do? I can do that here, because if I'm doing some reactions, I'll have time for more, Because the episode itself is only going to be so long. Okay, so Luffy punches him. Oh, okay, here we go. Luffy does Hawk Gatling. No, there's a point in the fight where Katakuri outright explains why Luffy's attacks are not hitting him. Like, he outright explains that he's moving. So this happens, right? But there's a point where Katakuri explains that, hey, it's because I have future sight that I can see your moves and just shift my body around him. 884, thank you. Thanks, Akash Panda. Akash Panda is always great with this sort of thing. Thank you, man. Okay, so this happens. that happens. This. Okay, here we go. So it's this, right? So Luffy was confused earlier. This is a point that happens earlier. He's talking about, what do you call? He's explaining armament haki is supposed to work on Logia powers, but my punches went right through you. I thought they didn't work, right? And then Katakuri confirms that, yes, it's because I'm reforming my body to efficiently dodge your attacks. It's possible if I could see the future with haki, right? So, if we go back, right, we see the same thing happening throughout Marineford with haki users, like not being able to hit or deal damage to Logias, right? So we see this with, I think, Marco and Vista attacking Akainu. That happens here. Whitebeard hitting Aokiji, and Aokiji doesn't get hit. And it's the same sort of dialogue, right? It's the same exact sort of type of dialogue that's expressed. Fuck. Man, I can't find anything today. Just looking for Marco and Vista attacking Akainu. Maybe it's a little bit earlier. 5, 7, 4? Come on, man. Yeah, here we go. Haki users, yeah. But Akainu's basically fine, right? So Akainu's fine. It seems to basically not work at all on him, right? Because the attacks still go through him, right? So it's a very similar instance. And then even earlier when it's like... might be somewhere around here. Yeah, okay, here we go. Even earlier, like, Whitebeard stabs at Aokiji, and then Aokiji's like, nope, I'm still okay, right? Even though the characters are saying he stabbed him with haki, is Aokiji dead, right? It's not as though Whitebeard's not using haki. He is using haki. We know he's using haki because he successfully is able to clash with haki with other characters, right? Like, you can't really hit Akainu here and like clash with these attacks unless you're using haki. We see Whitebeard use haki later on in the fight, and we know Marco and Vista later on they attack Akainu with haki. So to me, this is suggestive of the possibility that the admirals have future sight because it's so remarkably similar to the situation here, right? Where Luffy's literally like, armament haki, it's supposed to work on Logia powers, but it's not working. Why isn't it working? And Katakuri confirms, right, I'm merely reforming a body to efficiently dodge your attacks. It's possible if you can see the future with haki. So to me, that's basically what it's saying, that this sort of thing, where a haki attack is just still not working on a Logia type user, if that's the case, then it's likely indicative of future sight. That's my interpretation. But I guess we gotta wait and see. And thanks a lot, Akash Panda, Aokiji versus Whitebeard. Thank you, chapter 5, 6, 7. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Sorry, I missed a super here real quick. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Vade312. No, we covered this. Oh, I missed a Yonko. 1 second. Okay, hold on a second here. J.K. Kane. Thanks for being a Yonko cheer member for 21 months. What do you think of the parallel of Vegapunk and Joy Boy on how they both left messages for the world on its true history to be heard after they die? So I feel like it's a consistent, what do you call? Well, actually, that's a really, 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 really great point. Because I was about to say, like, oh, that's like Roger, that's like Nolan, but I didn't think about what you're saying, which is, yeah, the idea is that it's posthumously, right? Posthumously, the poneglyphs are being spread out in the world. The message is being left behind after Joy Boy's death, because it seems like during Joy Boy's own time, he wasn't able to get the word out, right? Void Century, pretty much everything nixed, world government rules, right? But it's after death that he's able to get everything out. I think it's a really, really interesting idea that Vegapunk's basically doing the same thing, because Vegapunk dies in his actual physical lifespan. He was not able to get the message that he wanted to get out, but he was able to transmit that message after his death. I think that's a really, really cool point. I did not think about that, because I was about to just be like, well, that's a lot like what Roger did, that's like what Whitebeard did, but no, their final words, their final message was at their death. I love the idea that you're able to have an impact even after your death, and that's being communicated through Joy Boy and Vegapunk. That's a great parallel to point out. Love that. It's a great point. All right, everybody. Once we get the stream likes up to 100, I will do the reaction. So once we get it up to 100. Let me stop sharing this. And I kind of got to double check. I've got display with... Yeah, this is the setup that I would do for this. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This would be the setup that it will look like when I'm doing the reaction. So watch out for this. And I know nobody likes it, but it's just what we got to do. It's just the way the world works. We don't want to get a copyright struck. Reizo anime saying, Morj, have you seen Zoro versus Edsock in the anime? It has some of the best animation choreography in Egghead. Yes, I have. And that was one of the reasons I was so excited about this. Because I think Law versus Blackbeard blew my mind. I thought that was some of the coolest animation I've ever seen in One Piece. The coolest non-action scene that I've ever seen in the One Piece anime was it episode 1000? Whatever episode they got, or 1015, whatever episode they got up to the rooftop. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I think when I saw the view from underneath Luffy's straw hat, my mind was blown. I was like, this is amazing. This is beautiful, right? In terms of action scenes, I think either something like Luffy versus Kaido, not the Gear 5th debut episode, but the episode where there's lots of lightning and stuff going around. I thought that's amazing. I think that's probably the coolest thing that I remember seeing in Wano, personally. Egghead, obviously, Law versus Blackbeard, fucking phenomenal. And Zoro versus the fucking Seraphim is just, like, really, really nice. This is gonna be very, very, very... Like, that was mind-blowing, too. Zoro versus the Seraphim was just amazing. I don't know if there's any that I'm super missing off the top of my head. Here's one thing that people will disagree with me on. It's a personal preference thing. It's a personal preference thing. This is going to be very controversial, but this is purely personal preference. This is not me saying that, like, it wasn't animated well or whatever. This was animated well. I did not personally like, me personally, I did not care for, it just wasn't my thing, Zoro defeating King. Not because the animation wasn't beautiful and stellar and all that, right? That's not why. I think my biggest thing is that I think with the swordsman type fights and Zoro's fights, I think if you're going all... Like, my favorite moment is kind of seeing the slash. Like, seeing the actual slash moment. Like, cutting... I think with Zoro versus King, it was... The way they did it was Zoro's flying towards the magma dragon, right? And then the two meet, and then there's just an explosion. There's, like, a big explosion, and then the explosion sort of dissipates and Zoro comes out of the explosion. That's personally for just... It's not to say it's not a beautifully done scene. It is a beautifully done scene. For me personally, I was hoping to see the, like, slashing... I was hoping to see Zoro actually slashing through the magma dragon. That was kind of what I was looking forward to. I get that the explosion has really cool spectacle and the build up to it is phenomenal. I just personal preference. That's it. I get that the spectacle is really cool. It's just not what I would like to see from, like, Zoro's coolest cutting moment. I would like to see the visual of the slash. That's it. Funnily enough, you even kind of get it. Wait, let me pull this up before we get to... we're going to watch the Shanks episode in a second. Let me actually pull up what I'm talking about. Funnily enough, we even actually kind of get it. Shit, I got to fucking mute my phone. Normally I have this on mute. We get what I'm talking about when Zoro cuts, like, a slightly smaller magma dragon a little bit beforehand. Let's see. Yeah, I'll show you guys real quick. And then I got some supers to respond to. Give me 1 second. Where the fuck is this shit? It should be right around here. Okay, Zoro versus King. Yeah, it should be this, right? Okay. Found it. Let me show you guys. Okay. So, what you guys should be seeing right now. Make sure desktop audio is not on. Desktop audio is off. I'm going to change the transparency of this. I always forget how to change the transparency. 1 second. Okay. There we go. You guys can generally see what I'm looking at, right? Generally good enough. Okay. If I look over here, yeah, like, this is all beautiful. All beautiful shit over here. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, this is actually a lead up before the big slash. This is just a smaller magma dragon that comes out. Wait, is it? Am I looking at the right thing? Kind of. Okay, so magma dragon's coming out. This is the big ass magma dragon. So it's jumping. Jumping. Come on, jump. Come on, man. And then, so you see more of a. This is closer to what I want, personally, which is like a bit more of a visual of like. Even still, it's still kind of an explosion, but you can kind of see Zoro like visually tearing through the dragon. I personally don't care for what we got for the finale, which was like, it's basically two energy things coming together, and then there's an explosion, and yeah, it's just a big explosion, and then it eventually dissipates with Zoro coming out of it, right? That's just not my thing, but I get that it's very well done. Yeah, that's it. You guys could see. I'm not screen sharing? I'm screen sharing. You can see. It's right here, right? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, fuck. It's because of Crunchyroll's protection filter. Netflix has it as well. Oh, okay. BeatGamer99 with a great point. Crunchyroll's protection filter means that... But I've done this before. How have I done this before? Does anyone know how I've done this before? I need to find a jank site. All right. Okay. We're going to find a jank site. All right. You guys don't need to know what I'm talking about here. Let's forget about that. How have I done this before? I think I've just found it through jank sites. So we're looking for One Piece. Watch One Piece episode 1112. All right, here we go. Can you guys see this? Is this being blocked for you guys? Okay. You are, but it's blocked. All right, cool. I found it. I found the episode. We're not going to belabor the Zoro point. We're going to move on from that. But you guys, if you watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. Let me catch up on these supers real quick. Fodder for hire, thanks for the 2. I heard Usopp's voice when Emmett did the oi. Well, I don't know if that's going to be... I don't know if Emmett's an Usopp-esque character, because Emmett seems to be a fairly, resolute and brave character with no hint of cowardice, but maybe that would be kind of like Usopp post-character development or something. I mean, Emmett is a giant. Maybe there's some symbolism there. Bweezy Bird, thanks for the 5. Your August 12th Monday stream will be after One Piece Day, where we are going to get info on the remake, live-action games, and more. What? What are you talking about? What? Wait, are you sure? Is this like your speculation, or is this actually a confirmed thing? Because that'd be awesome. Then there's a lot to talk about on August 12th. That's good to know. Thank you, man. I really, really appreciate the heads up. I forgot that One Piece Day is a thing. Marty McFly, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, can you react to Luffy gives Lucci PTSD this time? Also, who has the better team dynamic, Straw Hats or Team Avatar? Ooh, that's an interesting question. What do you mean better team dynamic? Do you mean... Okay, so short list of things that I could potentially react to. People want the Stussy scene, it sounds like, and people want... I feel like I've seen the Stussy scene. I don't know if I saw it on stream. People want the Stussy scene, right? And Lucci gives Luffy PTSD. I can do that. So if you guys push for some anime clips, I can watch those here, right? Because we're going to be in the mode of watching some anime. Who is the better dynamic, Straw Hats or Team Avatar? Okay, so this is where it's complicated because the Straw Hats are always going to be the closest to my heart. That's just the way it is. They're just going to be closest to my heart. I think they're my favorite little cast of main characters for anything ever. I do think there's something to be said where Team Avatar is a smaller group. So it's kind of... Actually, Team Avatar experiences something very similar to the Straw Hats. As the Straw Hats grow, I personally feel like there's less of a sense of cohesion among the crew because the cast of characters is just ballooning, and the reality is that not everybody has gotten a chance to interact with everybody when they join the crew. Not everybody's as integral to each other's storylines. If you get back to the East Blue 5, that's when the dynamic was very, very, very fucking so incredibly tight-knit. If you go back to like Arlong Park, that kind of cements it, the how tight-knit this group is, because they're all fighting the same exact life and death scenario. They're all part of each other's origin stories. They're all experiencing each other's core character conflict resolution in their starting arcs, like Syrup Village, Baratier, right? And they're all there for the, like, Arlong Park is where it all kind of ties together, where all of them in the same space on the same battlefield, right? They're all visually in the same spot. They're not split up or anything like that. They're all fighting for the same thing, which is Nami and her village's life, right? And her village's, survival, whatever you want to say, right? And you get so many good scenes with Nami asking the village to die with them, as Zoro and Sanji are telling Nami to bet on them and everything like that. Usopp coming through, Luffy being released as Zoro kind of sacrifices his body on the line to hold off Arlong, while Sanji's putting his body on the line to go break Luffy free. Just the coherence of everything coming together character-wise to form this really tight-knit five-man band in East Blue is perfect, right? I would argue we get something similar, just the experiences that they get in Enies Lobby, right? I think as the crew grows further and further, it's kind of like, how many of them even know Bonnie? If Bonnie joins the crew, how many of them have interacted with or know Bonnie, right? How many of them really knew Jinbei whatsoever before fucking Whole Cake Island, And even then, Jinbei's only getting to interact with a few of them. There's just not as much focus on the character cohesion. And as you get more and more Straw Hats, the interactions between them become more sparse, more few and far between, more surface level as well, right? And it's just not possible to have like as interconnected of a web, plus greater emphasis on side characters. I feel like the Straw Hats right now, it's not the same as what the Straw Hats once were in terms of just cohesion and tight-knit, like we're a unit. The feeling of them and like their family bond, like as a unit, East Blue wise, I'd say Team Avatar almost even fucking had something similar, where like by the end of, you're starting off with just Aang, Sokka, and Katara, and that's a beautiful little trio, right? And Toph gets added into it. Very, very naturally, and it's just 4 fucking characters, so they're interacting all the time, having serious conversations all the time, life and death situations all the time. By the time you get to the end of the story, and it's like fucking Sokka's fucking one-time girlfriend from like season 1 is thrown in the mix or whatever, and it's just like, okay, so Suki's part of the thing now, but I don't feel like Suki's as fucking tight with, Aang or Katara as the original 4 are, right? So it's just naturally the dynamics feel like it becomes more of a quantity over quality type emphasis on the dynamics, and I feel like that's something that both Team Avatar and the Straw Hats have had. Where it just starts to feel like, okay, it's fun to have more characters, but at what point does it feel like the actual realness of the realness and the genuine depth of the relationships is maybe becoming a little bit more, surface level, I guess I'd say. So overall, I'm just always going to prefer the Straw Hats, but I think that if you compare where they are now, where the Straw Hats are now, to where Team Avatar was even towards the end, I think Team Avatar consistently still had a lot more serious, genuine conversations and dramatic dialogue and, intergroup storylines and things like that taking place, whereas nowadays I really don't feel like the Straw Hats have had anything as meaningful as, their Enies Lobby experience since Enies Lobby, you know what I mean? When they feel like side characters in their own storylines, right? Like Egghead Island, Dressrosa, etc. It's just not quite the same. Whereas Team Avatar, there was still a lot of depth to their interactions all the way through towards the end of the story. I do feel like it got diluted a bit more as you're just throwing characters like Suki in, but it's whatever. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I still prefer the Straw Hats, and I think at their peak, the Straw Hats writing was like just the best that I've ever seen for a group of main characters. You know what I mean? Oreo, thanks for the 279. How can Egghead extend for 5 more chapters? What do you mean? How can Egghead extend for 5 more chapters? I just think it will, personally, because right now they're still getting to the things that we can kind of expect. Kuma having a big moment. We know Vegapunk's got one more big thing. We know that they've got to get off the fucking island, which is its own fucking hassle, right? Because they've got their ship. It's funny because they coup de bursted over to the giant ship, and coup de burst is usually the Straw Hats' exit strategy off the island in general to get out, in a fucking jiffy. But they use that just to get to another ship this time. So now the fucking giant ship has got to sail out of there. And didn't the editor say something like the climax is yet to come or something? There's something even bigger coming down the line. So I don't know. I feel like how it can extend, I just don't think that the Straw Hats have really fended off the Gorosei as well as they could just yet. They've gotten Mars out of the way, but there's still 4 more. And I think there's still just some character and thematic ideas in Egghead that have to resolve. Swagny de Toei Defender. Watch the Egghead episodes instead of clips. If you keep clip watching the episodes, then how can you make an overall opinion about the anime's work? Wait, are you... This sounds familiar. Are you from Twitter? I don't need to watch full episodes because I know that the episodes adapt less than, a chapter a piece. That means, by definition, the average episode is not a good episode. It fundamentally cannot be, because pacing is just a huge part of what makes a work of art, right? Any visual sort of medium, TV, movie, etc., pacing is a fundamental part of it, right? It just is. It fucking is, right? If things are moving at half a mile an hour, right? And it's like watching paint dry. If you take the amount of content that Oda gives us in a given chapter and you're like, well, what if you had to watch this for 20 minutes? It's just like, no, that's objective is a hard word because I suppose there's some people whose brain processing, just the way it works, people have different rates of brain processing. So maybe there's somebody out there who it's like, fuck, a chapter per episode, that's perfect for me. Or half a chapter per episode, that's perfect for me. I need things really fucking slow, just really dragged out. I'd say for the average person, that's not the case. I think I skew more towards the average person, where I personally just think that, how other animators, a lot of other anime are able to adapt 2-3 chapters per episode. To me, I think that's just where I skew towards, where I'm like, that's personally for me going to be an enjoyable experience, One Piece, I think it's just fundamentally not enjoyable to watch one chapter of material or half a chapter of material stretched out for 20 minutes when I just don't think it has any business doing so. I still think that One Piece can have some really, really good clips, and so I will enjoy watching those clips. So far, I've enjoyed every single clip that I've been shown from Egghead Island. I don't think I would enjoy watching people do reaction shots or drawn out, overdone gags or whatever for 20 minutes a piece week after week. That's just not me personally. But if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it, and that's your thing. That's it. I'm done speaking about the anime in broad terms. I'm done with it. But I'm gonna at least try and enjoy the good bits that they put a ton of effort into. Swagny de Toei Defender says episode 10-15 wasn't a full chapter though. So I didn't even watch the full episode 10-15. I watched the bits of them getting to the rooftop. And if you take something like episode 10-15, where I personally feel like in the manga, it's a rare scenario where the actual moment, right? The Straw Hats, all the supernova, etc., getting to the rooftop, the actual moment, I feel like it almost went by kind of fast and wasn't given the weight that it deserved. Because I feel like when Luffy was running up to the rooftop and everything like that, it was very, if you go back and read those chapters, we're kind of cutting over to Luffy doing it and being happy and lots of jokes and gags and stuff. And then we get to the rooftop and then suddenly it's like, oh, well, now it's really serious, right? Now it's very serious. But it always felt a little jarring to me because the chapters preceding it was very goofy and as though Luffy didn't have a care in the world. But then we get to the rooftop and then it's just like, oh, well, now it's very serious. I genuinely think that with the amount of buildup that the Wano arc had, that was a scene where it did truly benefit from adding some additional gravitas, slowing things down, the moment where Luffy's actually, seeing Kinemon's body and everything like that. Because I feel like in the manga, it was just a bit rushed. The tone shift was a bit rushed. It was like Luffy's all happy, goofy, etc. Then he gets to the rooftop. Then a throwaway panel of oh no, my friend Kinemon. And then he's angry at Kaido, right? I really feel like with the way that it was done in the anime, it was much more artistic. And it went to the idea of what needed to happen emotionally for that scene, personally. Now, that's not the case for the vast majority of One Piece chapters. It is very rare. If you're watching fucking Vegapunk's speech right now, and many of us, are feeling like, hey, these chapters are going by a little fucking slow, right? It's going by a little fucking slow. Maybe we can move this speech along slightly, right? I think there's almost no One Piece reader in the world that is thinking right now, hey, what if Vegapunk's speech was actually like 4 times slower and you had to listen to it over the course of like 7 episodes instead of 5 chapters? I think there's almost no One Piece fan in the world who thinks right now this speech would be helped by being slower. But that is unfortunately what the One Piece anime is. And like it or not, once the anime comes around at this point in time in the story, this speech, which we already feel is fairly slow, it's going to be 7 episodes of it. I don't think that's good. I think that is just as close to objectively bad, still technically subjective, but I think it's as close to objectively bad of an adaptation as you can possibly have. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I acknowledge it's subjective, but I think it's fucking as close to subjective as you could get, right? I think if you're taking something like this and you're stretching it out to 7-ish episodes, which it will be, I think that is pretty much like a terrible adaptation, personally. Now, is the One Piece anime still going to be good for clips and highlight moments? Yes. Obviously, I think most people would agree with that. That's why I'm excited to watch this episode. But I don't think my opinion should be that controversial. I don't think it should be controversial to say that an adaptation that is stretching a manga chapter, which is 19 pages, into 1 to 1.5 episodes, that is just bizarre and not ideal for an adaptation. I don't think that should be controversial to say, personally. Treebo Lakeem, thanks for the 2. JoJo versus One Piece, which verse do you think is stronger? I think One Piece is generally stronger, but JoJo's just has really weird high-end abilities that are kind of crazy, like Wonder a Few, right? But most JoJo's characters, like, they themselves are just normal humans, so they can get fucked up pretty easily. Treebo Lakeem, thanks for the 2. Oh, no, we covered this. I'm sorry. My brain just went on loop for a second. Gerard, thanks for the 2. Do you think the crew meets up with Kid at Elbaf? Do I think the crew meets up with Kid at Elbaf? I do think that Kid is going to be a character at Elbaf. For a little bit, I thought that Kid had been removed from the story. I've shifted my opinion to believe that Kid, I still think, is going to be a part of the story, just because of the way that Oda's been treating all of these side characters in the story so far. The long-running side characters. I feel like there is actually something significant planned for Kid. Knut Worgen, thanks for the 2. You should watch the Egghead OP, one of the best. I love the Egghead Island opening. I think the Egghead Island opening is fantastic. It is, it's the best done One Piece opening I've ever seen, right? I think without question in terms of the art direction of it. I will say one thing and only one thing, which is that I feel like what do you call it? The chorus refrain. I don't know what the correct words are. Like the vocals that come in right at the very beginning, I think those are really awesome, but then they don't play again till like much later in the opening. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I really like those opening vocals. And then I was hoping that there'd be a bigger part of the song overall, because it seems to set the tone for the song, and it seems like that's going to be the chorus that we'll be getting repeatedly, but then we don't. So that's just a me thing, but I don't know. I think visually it's fantastic, and music-wise I really fucking love it too. It's just my favorite fucking part doesn't come up again frequently throughout the song, which is, I guess, a nitpick. All right, let's watch this shit. Oh, wait, one more real quick. Young Brib B, thanks for the 10. Hey, Morj, been loving your recent pieces of content. Do you think Blackbeard versus Shanks is something that needs to happen in the story? If so, do you think Blackbeard will kill Shanks? I do think... Look, needs to happen in the story, those are always, like, very hard things to say. I've also learned over time that saying things like needs to happen can lead to a lot of controversy. I think it would be... maybe Oda's got something brilliant in mind as a subversion of Blackbeard fighting Shanks, but I think there's just so much setup for it that... I mean, fucking Marineford. What did Marineford end with? It ended with a sayonara from Blackbeard to Shanks, basically saying, like, hey, we're going to table this for later, but we are going to fight down the line. And that's kind of the most hype setup that you can possibly have. The biggest battle that defines, you know, the close of Act 1 of the entire story, concluding with... a scheduled future bout between who seems like the main villain of that storyline, Blackbeard, and the savior of that storyline, Shanks. I think that's fucking perfect. I think it would be a huge missed opportunity if Blackbeard does not fight Shanks. As for will Blackbeard kill Shanks, I personally think Blackbeard will kill Shanks. I think Shanks is just such a perfectly killable character, and it just does so many things for the story. drama, added emotional weight to Luffy versus Blackbeard, right? Like lots of added furious emotions, motivation really stamped in further, makes it even that much more personal. All of those things coming together. Obviously, Blackbeard and Ace makes it already personal, but you can always use that extra oomph, right? Especially because Ace dying was so fucking long ago, both in story wise and real world wise, right? So I think Blackbeard killing Shanks, just passing the torch, Luffy succeeding where his mentor failed, all of that's really, really good stuff. Establishing Blackbeard as a really powerful villain, because right now we kind of need that for Blackbeard still. Like the last we saw, he was going high diff with fucking Trafalgar Bum. I think to feel like Blackbeard is a bigger threat than a Kaido, Big Mom, the ones who came before him, I think Blackbeard killing Shanks is what needs to happen soon. Or defeating Shanks at the very least. And last one for real, because it's JWP, who's always coming through as a generous benefactor of the streams. JWP, thanks for the 5. Morj, man, rumors are saying this week's chapter and the next couple are going to be very, very good. I'm excited. I believe that they will be very good because I think that this Vegapunk speech, as slow burn as it's been, I think it's set to have like a really, really cool ending, you know? Okay, let's get into it. I think it's time, all right? You guys can see okay? You guys can see okay. I've been excited for this for a minute. Yeah, this opening, here, I'll go ahead and watch the opening. This little, I don't know what you call it in music terms. This chorus or whatever, I fucking like this a lot. Is this correct? You guys can see and everything, right? Display with face, yep. I like watching this opening. This bit is amazing. Ooh. The quality's so high. Wait, do I have to watch... Do I have to watch the Egghead bit? I'll watch the Egghead part. This is the first time hearing York's voice in the anime. It's kind of funny. I'm not gonna skip to the fight. Should I skip to the fight? Here, I'll ask you guys. Should I skip to the fight? Oh, fuck. This is a fucking tight ass poll. It's at a 50-50. People are saying a bit more no. I'll leave it at no. Here, I can watch. What's it gonna hurt? It's not gonna hurt. I'll watch. What's funny is I fucking forget that Egghead had other people on the island. It feels like an island where there's only Vegapunk, but there are other people. I feel like it almost would have worked better if it was just an island with Vegapunk. I don't know. Feels a little more isolated. Okay, here we go. Whew. Alright, I have half a mind to stop this episode, end stream, get high, and just watch this on the big TV. This is why I don't like React. This is why I'll never be a React person. This is why I don't react to One Piece chapters. Why I don't play video games first time playthroughs with you guys. I like when it's things that I'm genuinely excited about. I like watching it or reading it or playing it or experiencing it in the comfort of my own zone. I have to watch this on my laptop. It's tiny. Well, tinier than the TV. The colors are cool. I wish I could be high watching this right now. These are the sacrifices that I make for the people. But this is off to a really good start. All right. Oh, okay. Hold on. This guy, I don't know. You guys probably can't read what he's saying. But this guy just says, I can't believe... I don't know this guy's name. Can you guys even see who I'm talking about? It's the guy with spiky fucking spikes coming out of his head on Kid's Crew. He said, I can't believe we're fighting another Emperor of the Sea after beating one. You did not beat one. Nobody... How fucking... First of all, who is this guy? He barely participated. Who did he beat? He did not beat an Emperor of the Sea. And if you want to use the term we really broadly and include Kid did not beat an Emperor of the Sea. Is Kid really walking around thinking that he beat an Emperor of the Sea? It's actually kind of insane. I don't get it. Okay. No, I'm not smoking for this. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200 for me not smoking for me not turning off stream to go smoke and watch it by myself. Maybe if this is a good enough episode, I might just rewatch it high after. Although I usually don't do that. Follow me even if it means death. You dumbass. So this was something that I viewed this as like kind of strange, which is when I don't know if okay, I'll bring this up later, but there's a moment in the manga where Kid Parts are rolling up and seeing all the surrounding ships and everything, right? The surrounding pirate captains, and I think they straight up comment like, "Oh, these are all well-known, notorious, strong pirate captains," or something like that. I think that's a line. I'm gonna go read the chapter after this to double check. And then it almost feels like a retcon, like a little bit later. Shanks and his crew are coming out, and it stated that, oh, all of these are actually notoriously weak pirates or something like that that Shanks protects. I don't know if that's a retcon, but do you guys remember this? They were hyped up initially and then they weren't. Um, Jolly D Joestar, thanks for the two. I agree, it was a ring out, not a defeat. Yeah, it was. They did not beat anybody. I just had a thought. If you're an anime only viewer, right? If you're like an anime only viewer and like you're watching the One Piece episodes, right? Like you're just watching without any context of the manga. So then whenever you get to an episode where right off the bat, like right from the get-go, you can tell that the animation, the production, the scene direction, everything like that, it's on a totally different level, right? You can tell visually they're just doing something different with this episode. That means that as an anime viewer, right off the bat, when you're beginning the episode, you're like, oh shit, oh fuck yeah. Like, this is going to be a really hype-ass important episode. They know from the beginning. It's telegraphed right away, right? So that means that for every other episode that they're watching, like, do you know what I mean? Like, if they're just starting a One Piece episode and they don't do the really, nice, clean-looking, high-def animation or whatever, then you kind of know from the beginning that it's just going to be a typical episode, right? Like, you already know whether something hype is coming or not based on the level of animation that they're doing from the beginning of the episode, which I think is kind of interesting. It'd be kind of like, obviously that's the case for all anime. Like all anime, obviously, if there's a particularly great scene, then they're going to up the animation quality. But I think with One Piece, I've noticed that if there's going to be a really, really hype, if it's a hype scene in general, right, then the episode from the very beginning is going to be very well animated. So you just know from the beginning of the episode, which I think is kind of funny. It'd be like if every One Piece chapter that we read, we knew from the, like, we just start the first page and it's like, Oda's drawing is on a totally, like, it's very intricate and detailed and not sketchy or whatever, and his paneling is just immaculate. We're like, oh shit, some big shit's gonna happen this chapter. I don't know. Like, no anime only viewer is watching this and just being like, oh, this is just like a regular ass episode. Or at least like the opening bits of it. Swagney saying wrong because the highlights can happen later. I mean, I imagine like the Seraphim episode, like Zoro versus Seraphim or whatever. I imagine that wasn't super hype from the beginning. I'm saying that like from the beginning, like right off the get go, this is going to be like a super exciting episode, right? When they're doing it from the very get go. So wouldn't that be strange if it's like you're reading a manga chapter and then right off like the first page is way just Oda's just drawing it way better than he normally does, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be like a big ass chapter to from the get go. Who are these guys? Did we get these these designs? Oh yeah, maybe we saw. I got to read the chapter again. I don't remember. I still think Ben Beckman could take Kid even right now. I got Ben Beckman above Kid. I just don't think Shanks would do Ben Beckman the way that that Shanks did Kid. This is good. This is a refresher for me too, because it's been a minute since I remember what happened exactly when Shanks read this. Okay. Hold on a second. Wait 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 a second. I'm just processing something. Hold on. Is Kid? These guys. This is Kid's own crew. Kid's taking shit from his own ship. This is other ships now. It looks like, but every time Kid uses ability, he like drains his crew's resources as well. That's actually really funny. This is all shit from. No, this holy shit. What the fuck? I'm just processing this. Every time Kid fights, he fucking fucks up like his entire. This is actually too fucking funny. Every time Kid fights, at least at sea, he's getting like 50% of his materials from his own fucking ship. So like these are his. He and his crews, like fucking bolts, screws, guns, swords, kitchen utensils, all that shit is being sucked up just for Kid to do some shitty ass giant fist attack. I mean, I guess this one's technically going to be his big ass awakening, but it has the same effect, doesn't it? Is this what he does every time? Who would want to sail around with this guy? His ability is just to do all of that. The fucking pots and pans are in here. Oh my god. It's not like he returns this shit to them after he's done fighting. It just turns into fucking scrap. This is the most selfish ability ever. Alright. Here we go. Shit's happening. You ever just pull out your ultimate move to defeat fodder? This would be like if Luffy pulled out Bajrangan to defeat, like, I don't know, like 4 marine ships or something like that. Okay, so he's pulling from other ships too, but what if he just pulled the material from those ships instead of from his ship? I like that they're doing this effect showing that the other ships are being dragged closer to Kid. This is awesome. Oh shit. That's cool. The rope swing. Oh, it's still going? Ooh. I would have loved to see this type of writing in the actual moment. I'll save my thoughts for the end, but this is one of the great tragedies of Kid, which is that he could be used to really communicate a sense of, you know, a sense of reaching for the stars, but the frustration of failing to actually be able to grasp them, right? He could be really, really used to carve out a very, very tragic character story, but the way it actually happened in the chapter is just like he comes in all hot. 5 pages later, he's like a few pages later, he's just dead, right? This is really fucking good writing that Toei came up with to actually add some sort of depth and meaning to his defeat right here, right? Communicate, like hammering home what is trying to be said right here and the types of dreams that are being crushed here. It's one of the reasons I think Kid is such an ass character in the manga, because it could be such a cool concept, but there's just nothing interesting ever written around him. Kid's bitch ass crew. Oh my god. God damn. They really made Shanks look badass here. Fucking rock star. And the music kicks in. Damn. Oh shit. And Dory and Brogy are gonna look badass too. That was a great way to set up Dorian Broggie. Ooh. Damn. That is a nice, pleasant, like, added surprise. You know, that's like a little extra surprise at the tail end of this episode in terms of like another bit of really nicely done action. It's a bonus, basically. That concludes that, right? Have to watch anything else? Oh. All right. Well, that was that was just a phenomenal episode. That was way better than the manga. And the manga was really cool too, but that was just they could not there's no feasible way for them to have done that episode any better. And low-key, the highlight was the extra writing that they gave to Kid. Like that Kid killer moment preceding sort of the reveal that Kid had, you know, Kid's realization or whatever, that the flashback to reality. That was perfect. That was perfect. Wait, watch one more second. Watch 1 second. Okay, hold on. I'm doing it. All right. Oh! Alright, that's cool. Fuck, I paused right before the moment. Wait, I want to rewatch one thing. I want to watch the Divine Departure moment. Give me 1 second. I'll respond to supers in 1 second, please. Yeah, if I had one and only one thing, and this is like a personal preference. This isn't even about like how good episodes are. This is kind of like my little comment about like Zoro versus King, like a personal preference. It's not anything to do with how good the episodes are. It's literally just like, oh wait, what? Oh shit, I picked the wrong one. Okay. Fuck. All right, it should be okay. For my preference for this is basically like, I feel like I liked in the manga when it looked like they were, I guess you do the cut and then the haki comes out, but I think what I really like about Divine Departure, it looks like it's a ranged haki attack, you know what I mean? Kind of like the way that Roger did it too, where the haki comes out of the sword and extends, where this seems like the cut happens and then kind of haki. No, I mean it does it. I think I just like the idea of like haki like coming out sort of as like a wave motion type thing, but it's still really fucking like it's just a different interpretation of that scene basically. But yeah, this episode was really fucking good. Like this was just a phenomenal fucking episode. They could not have done this better, and like I think the biggest thing is the added scene that they honestly threw in. Hold on, let's see. Let me just catch up here real quick. Sire Ba, thanks for the 7. Always had an inkling that the final stage of Advanced Conquer Saki is manifestation. It shows with Shanks, and I think Zoro's Ashura is manifestation as well. Well, I mean, the anime is not canon, so it's the same way that, you know, as much as I like that Kid killer writing scene, it's more like, well, that's a what could have been if Kid was better written, but I don't view that as a canon scene, right? The moment that Shanks, we get this big griffin bird visual or whatever, it's awesome. I don't consider it canon. I don't think that that's an actual thing that's in Shanks' list of things that he can do. But it's a really cool concept. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 300 real quick, because that episode was fucking fantastic. And it has me more excited to watch more fucking One Piece episodes that are coming up. Hachinosu raid, Garp versus Aokiji, those are the two big ones around the corner. But then also the Reverie scenes. I don't know what they're going to do with Imu and the Gorosei, but it's fucking exciting. Shafi 9000, thanks a lot. The problem with Kid, he never had a mentor. Everyone that's a big shot had a mentor. Luffy, Law, Shanks, and Blackbeard. That's true, as far as we know, that you could. But to me, it would be really cool if that was a part of what was written into his story, rather than just something that, readers kind of have to pick out, right? Is it highlighted in the story that the difference between Luffy and Kid is that Luffy had a mentor whereas Kid didn't? I mean, Kid's just such a fucking flat cardboard cutout of a character that's never even fucking... That sort of differentiator is never really focused. It's kind of something that we, the reader, can think about as like, oh, this is like a little difference between them, but it's not something that's actually in the writing of the story that Kid's lack of a mentor or anything like that seems to be the reason for him being the way he is, Okay, Maya, welcome. Thank you very much for joining as a supernova. I appreciate it. Thank you. Of course, I've seen you in the... I feel like you've been a member before, but I might be wrong, but I know you've been in streams forever. Sire Ba, thanks for the 7. If we agree that manifestation is an advanced level of advanced conquer Saki, Shanks being a phoenix, Zoro, Ashura, what do you think Luffy's going to look like? I'm not going to go that far because I just don't think that that's necessarily canon, right? I just don't actually view it as canon, so unfortunately... Yeah, I just don't view it as canon, because I don't view it as canon, I can't actually speculate on anything like that. So, unfortunately, it's just the way it is. But I do believe that, manifesting Haki in some sort of fashion could be, what it's headed for. Swaggy Detoy Defender saying, okay, Mr. Pacing, 14 pages, thoughts. Dude, I think you're, I don't know what type of bone you've got to pick, because, that how do I say this? Just the reality of it, right? Like, I get that you really like the One Piece anime. That's great. And I get that it probably hurts when I say negative things or things that you don't like to hear about the One Piece anime. But here's the reality. We both know that not every episode is like One Piece episode 1112. We both know that not every episode is like that. This episode is, like, in your heart that this episode is the exception, not the norm. In your heart, in your heart of hearts that it's not like every episode... when it's being stretched out longer and longer, it's not as though they're adding in brilliantly written, really deep, hard-hitting scenes like the Kid and Killer moment. That's not how they're extending it. We both know that's not the way the story is actually written, right? Like, we know that that's not how Toei actually writes and increases the pacing of things. That in your heart. Why can't you just enjoy the episodes that are good and, be happy that others are enjoying that and acknowledging that the episode is good? I acknowledge that this episode is good. I've always said that for the episodes where clearly the animators are told to go hard for or whatever and dedicate most of their time, the episodes that the animators are assigned to dedicate the majority of their time to and everything, they do a phenomenal job. And I think Toei's writing team does a pretty good job for that stuff as well. Scene direction, all of that stuff. Amazing for these type of episodes. We just both, in your heart that that's not how the pacing normally is, though. And that the average chapter is not being treated with this level of love and care. And there's not a ton of really, really deep, well-thought-out material that's being added to it to increase the pacing. I just don't know what do you want to just, what would you like people to say? Would you like everyone to say, One Piece's pacing is good? Is that what you want people to say? Do you just want everyone to just, blindly say, hey, the pacing of the anime, it's just always good? What do you want people to say? Because the pacing, the reality of it is that it's paced out at a rate of about half a chapter to one chapter, not even one chapter. It's closer to half a chapter to 0.75 chapters per 20-minute episode. And you know what? Even in the fucking manga, the source material, even there, the existing pacing of the chapters is already considered very slow by a lot of readers. So if you're taking already slow-paced material from the source material and then slowing that pacing down even further while usually not adding that much substance to it, you don't really have what most people would consider, and obviously it's subjective, let's say what I would consider a good adaptation. But the good news is that you do have these gems in there One Piece episode 112, right? Law versus Blackbeard. You do have some gems in there that are worth watching, reacting to, etc. That's my opinion, right? But I just don't know. I don't know what you want the people to say. What do you want the people to say? You want everyone to just be like, hey, it has good pacing. It's a great anime. Is that what you want people to say? That half a chapter per episode is good? Like, why does it bother you, the simple idea that maybe half a chapter per episode is bad, and that anime adaptations should not be adapting less per episode than the original chapters, which is the standard for every other fucking series ever fucking adapted? I don't know. Maybe those other series that are adapting at a different pace are doing something right, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not like One Piece is reinventing the wheel by figuring out that it should do half a chapter per episode, and that's somehow an improvement on the anime, Maybe the other anime, maybe the other 99% of anime that do it the other way and adapt more per episode than per chapter, maybe they're doing something right. That's just my thought. I don't know. I don't think that's that crazy to say. Dick So Small, episode of balls, thanks for the 5. When Kid returns in Elbaf, it'd be cool to see his frustration convey tension to contrast Luffy's lightheartedness. It would. I would also raise you one and say that it would be nice to see Luffy in a situation where he finally feels some tension as well and not necessarily lightheartedness. It would be nice. It's been a minute. South says stream might get nuked. Hey, first of all, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for so long. And yeah, the stream, I can't believe I switched it to the wrong. This is the problem. Even when I think I try and get, gotten a little bit better at technology stuff, then I still do the simple mistakes of oh, fuck, switch to the wrong display. It'll get better over time, but it is what it is. I'm still enjoyed the episode a lot, so I don't mind too much at the end of the day. I enjoyed the episode more that, whatever happens to the stream happens to the stream. Akash Panda, thanks for the 5. Please react to a video called One Piece Gulag by YouTuber Huncho619. It's Kid, Law, and Luffy discussing post-Wano events. You'll surely love it. Is it funny? If it's funny, I'll watch it. I will do some more reactions over the course of this stream, because that's the idea of this stream, for me to do some reactions. So I can do a couple more anime clips for sure, not probably full episodes, and I could probably watch the reaction to that clip you're talking about. JWP, thanks for the 5. As much as Kid got fodderized by Shanks, the episode definitely showed just how insanely powerful Kid's railgun is. Kid's destructive capacity is crazy. JWP, I just gotta say, I don't know about that, man, because I'm just I don't consider the anime canon, right? So the railgun looks really cool here, but we saw what it is against Big Mom, and against Big Mom, it really just looks like a bullet being fired really hard, To me, the railgun always looked like just something that is probably slightly better than the shit Frankie can do, in my opinion, I know that even in the manga, Shanks saw it shooting through several ships. I don't view destroying several ships as that big of a deal at the point that we're at in One Piece. But I get it. The railgun's supposed to be a big deal, so we should treat it as such, etc. Virgil Hawkins, thanks for the 5. If you make a poll for the earlier stream time, you should keep it for a week. If you make the poll for earlier stream time, you should keep it up for a week and mention it in videos so enough people see it. And top 3 Haikyuu characters. What does that mean? Earlier stream time. I think with Mondays, I kind of just got to stream at the time I stream on. I think the tricky thing was streaming, we hit a point where there was a debate about whether I should stream Fridays during the day or not. But now that it seems like chapters are consistently coming out on Thursdays, I kind of just have to cover them on Thursdays, because if I do the streams on Fridays, then that means that the chapter review comes out Saturday, and at that point there's just less momentum and interest in the chapter. So I think I just got to roll with the stream time we got, man. Top 3 Haikyuu characters. I haven't progressed any further in Haikyuu. I just haven't. So I guess on the team itself, I would say I think I like Kageyama. I was going to like Tsukishima. That was his name, right? The tall guy. Kageyama, then that Tsukishima guy. What else? On other teams, I liked Oikawa, and then that setter from Nekoma. I think I like those characters as well. Grizzly Adams, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 11 months, man. The Griffin had no effect. It was literally just aura. Yeah, I think it was just the anime adding its own flair, Also, Kid's greatest failure is that he can't make allies because he's a jerk. I mean, there's so many things you could interpret about Kid. I just wish that the fucking story actually elaborated on that, or like actually delved into that a little bit. Instead, it's just presenting a character who fucks up, who talks like Luffy but fucks up at every way. And you can point to a lot of reasons. It's like, is it because he had no mentor? Is it because he had no allies? But like ultimately, what's the message behind this character, right? Like, what's Oda really wanting us to take away from this character? Because look, there's a lot of other fucking Supernova and like random characters that like talk shit. Like you can go back to fucking Don Krieg, right? And Don Krieg, you can actually argue, has clearer, better writing than Captain Kidd. I think actually straight up, yeah, you could argue that Don Krieg does, because with Don Krieg, that's the first character that Luffy's running into that also wants to be a Pirate King, right? He's like, I'm going to be Pirate King, just like Luffy wants to be Pirate King. And the entire Baratier arc actually centers a lot around the defining difference between how someone like Don Krieg thinks versus how someone like Luffy thinks, right? You get the messaging that Oda is getting at, because Don Krieg's mentality is that it must be, it's very resource oriented. It's like, if I had better weapons, if I had a bigger fleet, bigger crew, if I had information, those are the things that I'm missing that stop me from becoming Pirate King and making myself successful in the Grand Line. That's his mentality, right? And then on Luffy's side, the entire thing that's being hammered in over and over again in that arc is that no, the key that you're missing is just conviction, strength of will, belief in yourself, just the intrinsic qualities that Luffy has. Don Krieg's thinking entirely extrinsic. Luffy's, it's all about internal, right? Same thing that Zoro's being highlighted in that arc, like the conviction and the strength of will that he as a person has. That's what makes him impressive to Mihawk, right? That's the divide, and that's why Don Krieg's such a good villain for that arc, because it establishes, you know, even if Don Krieg's kind of generic in terms of personality and attitude, you get the themes that are coming out in the difference between Luffy versus Don Krieg and how they think, right? Luffy, it's all extrinsic. Don Krieg, it's all intrinsic. Don Krieg, it's all extrinsic. My weapons, my crew, my fleet, my giant ships, etc. If only I had information like Zeph's logbook, these are the external factors that are preventing me from being great. Whereas Luffy, it's all inside, right? That's good. Simple contrast. With Kid and Luffy reading the entire fucking Wano arc, where exactly are you drawing the key? Like, what about Kid's writing? Like, there's no fucking good dialogue from Kid, period, in Wano. There's no clear like, it's very unclear what exactly the message breakdown Oda's trying to get at in terms of the clear difference between Luffy and Kid. Is it because Kid's like a shitty person that hits civilians? Is it because Kid's like fucking, doesn't have a mentor or something? Is it because Kid doesn't like making friends or whatever? There's a lot of different ways you can spin it, but I would argue that straight up the writing around Don Krieg is fucking more coherent as a failed Pirate King candidate than fucking Kid, at least so far in the story. But all of that is to say, I believe that Kid still has more potential in the story, and we're gonna get a lot of that in Elbaf rather than, in the Wano arc. But that is to say, I do think Kid was superfluous in the Wano arc and didn't really add anything, and just took away screen time from other characters personally. Remix King, thanks for the 2. When will you react to the video I sent? I'm gonna be honest, man. It was so long ago I forgot about it. But I could do that this stream because I got time. So right now, okay, who all suggested videos to me? So we've got some suggestions. We've got Akash Pan has a suggestion, Remix King has a suggestion, and then there's some clips that people wanted me to watch. L, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 17 months. Hopefully Kid gets a good character arc and grows from this because he got humbled. Not a Kid fan, BTW. My whole thing was like, I wish that if that were the story route that Oda wanted to go with Kid, I wish he'd just done that post Kaido. Because then you could have, like, Kaido gave him that humbling. That same thing that happened just this episode, this chapter, it already happened once before with Kaido. So to me, it's just like, we could have already had a Kid mid-character arc in the Wano arc, We could have had Kid, everything that Oda's about to do with Kid, or at least that we hope that he's about to do in the wake of Shanks, of him getting his ass handed to him by Shanks. I feel like there's no reason that couldn't have been written into the Wano arc, Because that's where we were kind of hurting for some actual depth to Captain Kidd, in my opinion. Island Sanji, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 3 months. Morj, I just started playing Sekiro because I was watching you did your old Sekiro stream, and man, I can't beat the stupid Chained Ogre, bro. Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. The Chained Ogre is fucking brutal. I could talk a lot about the Chained Ogre. All I can say is this. The Chained Ogre is rough. It's meant to be a daunting early task to kind of... So one thing is I think that the Chained Ogre... I feel like they should have given you more swordsman-based enemies that early in the game, because the Chained Ogre, you're not actually going to fight too many other enemies and bosses, or mini-bosses like the Chained Ogre. So it's already a little bit, like, if it feels better, just consider you're not going to have to do that sort of thing that often. But I do think the Chained Ogre teaches you a few things. I think it's supposed to teach you a bit to avoid grabs and shit, but I don't think it does a good job of that because it's hard to avoid its grabs, even if when you do the right thing. I do think it teaches you the concept that, like, you can really deflect just about, like, it doesn't matter how big or, like, flailing about, like, an enemy is, like, how visually intimidating. You can deflect pretty much anything in the game, right? I think that's kind of maybe what the Chained Ogre is supposed to teach you. You are going to have to fight big-ass enemies like the Chained Ogre and bigger down the line, but I think it's supposed to start getting you used to the idea that, hey, you're going to have to fight big shit as the game goes further and further along, you know? But just not often, right? It's not going to be the norm of the type of enemies you're having to fight. So, look, just treat the Chained Ogre a bit as an outlier. Focus on just getting better at, like, feeling confident in deflecting, like, even giant-ass things. And I'm sorry about the grabs, because that's probably what you're going to be struggling with a lot, in my opinion. I love Sekiro, though. I'm playing Bloodborne right now, so I'm learning my own lessons. I'm in the Forbidden Woods. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, that place I'm getting fucking lost as fuck. I did finally find the bosses. Spoilers, I guess, but I hate bosses where there are multiple things I have to fight. That's all I'll say. But I'm loving Bloodborne overall. Dick so small, I piss on my balls. Thanks for the 10. With Vegapunk dying, maybe Elbaf will have a theme between Luffy and Kid involving honor after failure. I find it fitting that Shanks is the one who says being a man is growing through victory and loss. Oh, that's a great little point that Shanks does preach that pretty often. I would love to see if, like, if there's some sort of, yeah, because, like, growing post-loss, Kid got his ass handed to him by Shanks, but, like, maybe there's something there for him, you know? I mean, Kid's been through the ringer, right? Because this is his second go-around losing to Shanks' crew. There's actually a ton of potential for Kid's character arc, because he's taken a lot of shit, right? Like, for Luffy and the Straw Hats, losing at Sabaody was a big-ass deal, right? For Kid, he lost his arm right away. Then his entire crew got decimated and essentially broken up, and his vice captain got, you know, fucking permanently handicapped in a sense. Not handicapped, I don't know what the word is for it. Permanently altered, right? His psyche to a degree. Not even psyche, that's the wrong word for it. But you know what I mean? Like, they went through the ringer, like, they went through that breaking moment again in Wano, and now it's happening yet again here, again to the hands of the red-haired pirates. So to me, it's just like, either Oda's really setting up something brilliant character arc-wise for Kid, or I just don't fucking get it. What the point of this character is. And I'm going to do a poll real quick about how we're feeling about Kid. Is Kid going to have a comeback in the story, or is his story done? There is something more to Kid. Kid's done. Also, let's get the streamlines up to 300 real quick. Daniel Allen, thanks for the 5. Morj, working legs will produce more growth hormones, and that's when the real gains come in. The ladies love nice legs, love the content, read Stormlight. So, for those of you who don't know, I don't do leg workouts. I'm a leg day skipper. I don't do leg workouts. I've been less consistent than I should in general in terms of going to the gym. But when I do, I only do upper body, right? I did go today. As you can see, I just took a shower and everything like that. But I don't do leg day workouts. That's interesting to know that working out legs promotes growth hormones in general. I didn't know that. But, yeah, I don't work out legs mostly because I view it as a waste of time. Because I think upper body is just more noticeable. That's my opinion. I'm just like, and you could be like, and I know people are like, no, but legs, that makes you functionally strong and stuff. I don't need to be functionally strong. All right? I'm not a fucking construction worker. I am not like a fucking manual labor person. All right? I don't need to be functionally strong. I would like to look good, which is why I work out the upper body. Although people have mentioned that, hey, working out just the upper body. And, like, I'm very honest about that, right? That might sound stupid. That might sound shallow and vain, but I actually would flip it and basically say the other way, which is, like, I think a lot of guys say that they take pride in the gym because they like feeling strong, But I do think like at least 60% of why people like going to the gym is to look good. At least 60% for most people. All right. I'm just being honest about that. I like the feeling of being stronger, but not to the point that I would work out my legs, which are, in my opinion, almost exclusively for functional strength, and leg day is difficult, and I just don't fucking do manual labor type shit. All right, I don't need to be functionally strong. I'm comfortable admitting that I would. Most of the reason that I like going to the gym is I like physically feeling better about my body in that sense, right? But more so from an aesthetic point of view, I guess you would say, right? Sounds shallow, but I think it's also something that is true for a lot of people, even if they just don't like speaking about that, okay? So, now that I know that it promotes growth hormones, that is something cool for me to know, but at the same time, probably not enough for me to take a day each week to do leg day. That's just the reality of it. All right. Yeah, look at Kaido. He never worked out his legs, and he was the world's strongest creature. So, how much does leg day actually matter, huh? Okay, so most people are on board with like there being something more to Kid's arc. It's interesting. That's where I'm at. Read Stormlight. I will, if I'm getting back into reading, the Stormlight Archives is going to be one of the first things I read. I promise. Remix King, thanks to the tube. Bro, my Poke video is almost an hour long. You sure? No, I did not realize that. I lied. I didn't know what... I'm not watching that. I lied. I'm not watching that right now. I thought it was a clip. Virgil Hawkins, thanks for being a Pirate King to your member for 21 months. Thanks so much, man. Do you plan on continuing Haikyuu? So you asked me what my 3 favorite are, right? That's one of the big things, which is I think that... One, I don't love anybody on the team. Usually if I really like a character right off the bat from an anime, it does drive me to keep going more. I don't love any of the characters on the team, but I could see myself growing to love them more. It only ever gets better, and for a lot of fans, Season 2's training arc is better than all of Season 1. Thoughts on Hinata and how important is the protagonist to you? Okay, so, that's interesting. So one of the reasons I stopped Haikyuu, not because I didn't like it, I fully respect it, I really like that series, I will fully admit that I came in with a negative mentality about it, or not negative, but just skeptical mentality about it, and then I genuinely found myself, by the end of Season 1's tournament, I genuinely found myself, actually verbally exclaiming, like I'm watching an actual fucking sporting event, when they scored certain points. Like, genuinely, I was at that point. I was that into it, okay? Season 2, as you said, begins with a training arc. I took a pause just because I'm not as interested in watching another training arc. I know it's good. I know it's great character shit. That's where good character stuff is set up. But I think here's one really minor thing for me. Okay, this is going to sound stupid, okay? But I'm sure it's good. That's the thing. I'm not arguing that it's not good. I'm just saying why I'm hesitant to get into it and force myself into it. If I'm watching an anime, right, like let's pretend I'm watching One Piece, right? One Piece hits like a big climax like Wano, right? It hits its big climax, and then after that, it's going to go into a bit of a quieter section, right, usually. However, because these are anime where there's lots of, fantasy world, fighting, action, all sorts of crazy characters and stuff like that, there is still, even when you're slipping into a simpler arc, and you know it's going to be a simpler arc, there's still always potential for something wacky or crazy to happen, right? In terms of, like, who could show... Like, we finished Skypiea, for example. If you go to pre-time skip, right? We finished Skypiea, and it's like, okay, we finished a big arc. Okay, now we're getting a quieter storyline with the Davy back fight, and it's like, whatever. But at the end of it, like, fucking Aokiji shows up and fucks up the entire fucking crew, right? So there's crazier, more dramatic shit in terms of, like, action that can happen or consequences that can happen during the post-climax sections of normal anime. With Haikyuu, when we're going into a training arc, I know that it's a training arc that is going to be purely... Like, there's nothing that crazy that can happen in a training arc, my assumption, because the stakes can only really come from when they're competing in tournaments, at regionals, or spring tournament, and things like that, right? The stakes have to come from scheduled match play, right? A training arc fundamentally can't have stakes appear out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So at least with other fantasy, fictional, like action anime and everything like that, at least you have the illusion that at any point the story could turn into something very, very exciting, high stakes or whatever, even if it feels like you should be at a lull in the story. But in something like Haikyuu, which is a sports series, you know for a fact that when you're entering into a training arc section, there is nothing that dramatic that can happen, because it's not like they can fucking, like, there's no matches at stake or anything like that, right? There's no official stuff. So that's kind of what's holding me back. I'm sure it'll be really good character writing and stuff, but I just don't feel that excited to get into it. I want to get back to the spring tournament section, basically. Like, I want to move through that and get to see them in the spring tournament, but I know that's some ways away. So I'm sure I'll pick it up at some point, but maybe not just yet. But the fact that you said that Season 2's training arc is better than all of Season 1, that actually does sway me a little bit to feel like, hey, maybe I should be giving this a try right now. As for thoughts on Hinata and how important a protagonist is to you, a protagonist is not... I think it always fucking helps when I love the protagonist. I think it really, really helps, but I found that... I love Luffy, right? I found that it's not that important to me for the protagonist to be that great overall. Like, I can still really... The majority of series that I love, the protagonist is not the main, like, my favorite character, right? One Piece is kind of an exception in terms of how much I love Luffy. Hinata, to me, fits into a very similar character. Like, he's well written so far. I think that we could definitely get more out of him. I do think that there is just a certain character type that I see way too often in shonen, that there's different variations of, and they all have their own personality quirks and traits, but at the end of the day, it's the sort of genuine, well-meaning, bright-eyed, emotional, effusive, lovable type, underdog type little main character, right? So, I see versions of, like, Hinata in, like, an Asta, or, like, it's a type that you see in so many other shonen, right? You know what I mean? Like a Hinata, an Asta, even a Deku, right? It's variations of something similar. Luffy, to be fair, is also kind of a variation of that, but the thing I love about Luffy the most is that, like, he's not this, like... Luffy also comes with a sort of great, like... He's deceptively very, very... even from day one, he's deceptively very, 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 like... fully realized and sure of himself and wise in many ways, and he's actually imparting a lot of wisdom to other characters throughout East Blue, right? So he comes across as this sort of, like, bright-eyed, weak-looking type, easily dismissed, like, emotional, goofy character or whatever, but anytime Luffy gets serious in East Blue, it's like, holy shit, no, like, this guy is actually, like, he has the spirit and the drive and the will and the wisdom of a sort of Pirate King-esque figure. Like, he's a larger-than-life figure from day one in One Piece, and, like, he's an inspiration to everyone he meets, whereas, like, these Asta, Hinata type, Deku type, they all feel very small, and, like, they're in an environment where, like, they're, like, these little underfoot type characters that everybody's, like, that they're slowly having to carve a little bit of an identity for themselves, Whereas Luffy, like, that's true in the grand scheme of things, but in the day-to-day adventure, arc-to-arc adventure, Luffy's actually, like, this towering sort of figure that every person he meets sort of looks up to and is very impressed by. It takes a long time to, like, Marineford when Luffy's, like, really experiencing being the small fish, and then he has to train and readjust and all of that. Anyway, Grizzly Adams, thanks for the 5. The Chained Ogre is the first boss with a clear exploitable business. Is the first boss with a clear exploitable weakness, fire, so one lesson it teaches you is to go find the right tool for the job. Okay, so I would personally disagree with Grizzly Adams right here. I did find out much later that, like, the Chained Ogre is apparently weak to fire. I think it will serve you much, 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 much better if you genuinely try to beat like, you do not need fire to beat the Chained Ogre. I don't think it's even expected that, like, fire is supposed to be the standard. Like, fire's like an option if you can't beat it straight up, but every single boss in Sekiro is designed to be beaten straight up, right? There are little gimmicks that can make certain things easier for you, like tools, but I don't think I ever got the fire tool in Sekiro as far as I can recall. I don't think I ever had it. Maybe I picked it up at some point or whatever, but it was never something, like, I think it will genuinely suit you much better. Like, you could say one lesson it teaches you is to go find the right tool for the job, but I think you will be much, much better served if you just use this more so as a lesson to get better at deflecting and fighting large enemies, because fire is not going to solve anything else in the future for you in this game, pretty much. Like, almost anything. Like, no other boss, right? And most other bosses, at least the harder they get, there's not going to be, like, a trick to beating the harder ones, for the most part. I think, as far as I know in general. There may be like one thing or another to make something like slightly easier, like a tool here or there, maybe. But as far as I can recall, like all the strong bosses I'm thinking of, you will just need to get better at playing the game, right? If you go and see like my gameplay of Sekiro or whatever, you can see like my prosthetics and everything. I pretty much know prosthetics because in my mind, the game is usually not trying to get you to find a better, like there's the option to find a better tool, but really I think you're just supposed to be able to beat everything straight up with you and your sword. And to me, that was the appeal of Sekiro. I would strongly recommend not doing that for the Chained Ogre. I will say there is one mini boss in Hirata Estate that has certain surrounding minion type characters, and I won't say anything further, where it would be very helpful to have an axe for certain reasons. And I found out that I found that out much later after I had to beat him without the axe. But at least there, because it's not a traditional encounter, I would recommend, probably save yourself a headache, get a prosthetic tool. Only there. Everywhere else, get just better at deflecting. JWP, thanks for the 2. I go to the gym to fill out my t-shirts, LMFAO. Hey, look, I think that's the reason a lot of people go to the gym. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in wanting to look better. Dick so small, I piss on my balls, thanks for the 5. Not just his missing arm, but the new scars convey kids suffered a lot. He randomly gets kidnapped and waterboarded, which is wild as fuck. That's true. He's actually such a fucking interesting character if we could just get into the writing of him and all he's experienced. It could be so good. Anis23 says, what do you think about Guts? So Guts is a great example. A lot of people love Berserk because they love Guts. I think Guts is a great written character, obviously. I think he's very, very, very unique, phenomenal character, a lot of depth, yada, 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 very compelling story. Guts is just he is not high on my list of reasons why I enjoy Berserk. He's not even one of my favorite main characters, period, just because I personally don't, you can respect the character and the character writing, but I don't love the character archetype of Guts just gets a bit tiresome for me as the main character all the time, I saw some meme about, again, there's no disrespect. We all understand how great of a character Guts is, right? I'm just saying why I personally sometimes just get a little tired of it, because it's just dude, I can only deal with this guy being sad. There was some meme I saw which is new Berserk chapter comes out. This was when Miura was still alive and kicking and everything, right? New Berserk chapter comes out. Guts cries over something. Berserk fans, OMG, so deep, 10 out of 10. And, that's obviously a huge exaggeration, right? But it is yeah, I don't know. He's just, I can't, this guy fucking is moping about everything all the fucking time. And I get that his life is sad and he's very sullen and solemn and all that shit. But I can't deal with that it's hard to explain. There's certain characters that I love as main character archetypes, and then certain characters that, I think Luffy is close to my favorite main character archetype. Right? There's certain, I love Usopp as a side character archetype, but I would hate Usopp as a main character, right? I like Guts' character archetype lots of times for side characters. I can't deal with him all the time as a main character. That's just me. It's just preference. That's it. Stormy saying L take, I'm not going to lie. It's not even a take. It's not a take, because I'm not trying to say an opinion, or I guess it's an opinion. I'm not trying to, say Guts is bad. That's the thing. He's great. Phenomenal. It's personal preference. This isn't really a take. It's kind of like if you said, I don't like anchovies. That's not really a take, That's just saying you don't like anchovies. That's just not your thing, right? If I said I don't like tangy fruits, that's just me, right? That's it. The meme, I acknowledge, is a meme. It's just kind of funny, right? It's funny. It's a meme. It's not legit. It's not rooted. That's not how Guts is actually written. There's obviously much more to it than that. But to some small degree, I just don't find it enjoyable to read a character who is like that 24/7 as the main character, right? It's just hard to explain, but there's lots of times I like that Guts archetype as a side character or secondary character. I just don't rock with it as the main character the entire time. That's it. It's kind of like I read like my favorite character in Berserk is Griffith. Would I like reading a series where Griffith is the main character? No, but I love him as a villain archetype. Dr. Divinity, thanks for the 5. Morj, just beat this. Okay, this is mild spoilers. I'm gonna hold up my fingers because I don't want to spoil Sekiro for people. All right, because people are here playing it. All right. So as long as I have my 2 fingers up, that means I'm talking about Sekiro real quick. Just beat the Sword Saint boss in Sekiro last night for the first time. I feel so relieved. Also, what's your thoughts on Sanji and Egghead so far? Okay, so I don't really have to say anything. Okay, I'll just say this, which is that Dr. Divinity, you beat the final boss of Sekiro. To me, still mechanically the best From Software boss I've ever played. Mechanically meaning like purely assessing the gameplay. It is phenomenal, right? My favorite ever. There's one other From Software boss from the Dark Souls 3 DLC that I prefer even above Ishin. I still think Ishin's better mechanically, but I just like that Dark Souls 3 boss for other reasons. The writing, the lore implications, the arena, the setting, the effects, the spectacle, the cutscenes, the all that jazz that comes with it, the atmosphere, the weight to it, all of that stuff, right? Because that Dark Souls 3 DLC boss is still a phenomenal mechanical boss, like mechanically still, like gameplay wise, phenomenal, mechanically phenomenal boss, probably the best you can get with that type of combat system. Sekiro's is just a notch higher, but the Dark Souls 3 boss edges it for me just slightly because of all the accompanying factors. And I'll say this, I played Dark Souls 3 after Sekiro, and I was convinced that the Sekiro final boss would forever be my favorite boss, so I was shocked when I changed my mind after Dark Souls 3. Anyway, Akash Panda says, Morj, a take is literally a personal opinion. Yeah, a take is literally a personal... I feel like takes are usually basically personal opinions that you're kind of putting out there into the ether as sort of judgments, which I view as different. If you just say, I don't like tangy fruits, I think that's not really a take. That's just, do you like tangy fruits or not, right? If I say my favorite color is red, it's just red. If I say my favorite color is blue, it's just blue. I don't think those are takes. I think takes are when you're ascribing judgment, right? So if I say something like, I think tangy fruits are ass because they're just like they just are too sharp on your they're just too sharp on people's taste buds, and like chocolate chip cookies are just much easier or something. I don't know, that's a take, right? If I'm just saying like I like red, I like blue, I like apples or something, those aren't really takes in my opinion. You could, if you want to get nitpicky, you could argue it's still a take in a sense, but I think that generally speaking in like colloquial speech, that's not what people are referring to when they're saying like, oh, that's a hot take, that's a cold take, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, Sonic Ranger, I'm talking about that guy. I don't want to spoil things, I think, anymore. Although I think I've, in general, definitely spoiled some From Software things for people. Okay, guys. Okay, what are the things that... Yeah, Henchme976 is the difference between I like apples and apples are the best fruit. Yeah. That's how I view takes, personally. Okay, that's my take on takes. Anyway. Oh, shit. Wait, I'm supposed to order some food. Give me 1 second here. And then I will react to some shit. Hold on. The things that I've been told to react to are Akash Panda's video, and then Stussy, right? And then there was one other scene. Lucci PTSD. Am I right on that? Are there any other things that people would like me to react to? Get your requests in real quick before I get on the reaction train. Please do not spoil me on Elden Ring DLC stuff. Please, 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 please do not spoil me. I'm begging you. Please, Mod, if you see anything Elden Ring DLC related, please delete that. That's my only request. I very much care about getting to experience that fresh. Give me 1 second here. All right. I ordered this? Okay. Doing this. Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys. It's got to order it before it closes. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay. All right, everybody. Okay, what am I doing? Akash Panda says, yes, those three. Dr. Divinity says, missed second part of my message. Oh, fuck. Also, what's your thoughts on Sanji and Egghead so far? Sorry, when you get me from software tracked, I forget about things. Okay, what's my thoughts on Sanji and Egghead so far? I think this has been a run-of-the-mill Sanji arc, basically. I think he's done the most things. So if we revisit the Egghead MVP discussion, you could argue that Sanji's probably done the most things and been involved in the most little spots. I think that I would personally say I felt blue-balled with Sanji a couple times this arc because it feels like we're about to get like a really cool Sanji scene a couple times. Like he's done really good stuff in general. I'd say that there's a couple times where it feels like he's about set to get to do something amazing. So, for example, the S Shark scene, I thought that, oh shit, maybe next chapter we see Sanji kicking S Shark's ass, and then you kind of realize, okay, no, the stopping the punch was the highlight of it, and that's the most we're getting, right? Kizaru's laser, when Sanji stopped that Kizaru laser, everyone was really, really excited. And then the next chapter was kind of like, okay, no, so that was basically the highlight moment was stopping the laser. I think a lot of people were excited that Sanji's going to get to fight Kizaru next. So I feel like with Sanji, this arc, it's felt a little bit like he's definitely doing a lot, probably the most out of any Straw Hat besides Luffy. I think probably the most out of any Straw Hat besides Luffy. He's obviously doing a lot. He's in a lot of places. He's helping out in many ways throughout the arc. I think it's one of those, like, if he just got this little extra bit that it seems like he's about to get in a lot of spots, that would be perfect. But then we don't get that necessarily, so it's like a slight feeling of blue balls with Sanji, but in general, he's been great this arc, right? Ooh says Don trailer, senor. I've seen the Don trailer. I think I even, what do you call? Reacted to it on stream. I might be wrong. JWP, thanks a lot for the 5, man. You got to start Elden Ring. It's too good, and the DLC is out. I have like 100 hours in, and I'm only halfway through the main bosses in the game pre-DLC. Okay, so I promise Elden Ring is next up on my plate. Right now, I'm playing Bloodborne. I wanted to play Bloodborne before I did Elden Ring. That was like one of the things that was most important to me, and I find like it was perfect timing. I was almost going to start Elden Ring, and then I finally got access to Bloodborne through somebody else. I got to borrow a PlayStation, all of that basically. So just perfect timing. Yeah, I'm partway through Bloodborne. I don't really know how far, but I guess if you go by bosses, I've beaten 5 bosses. I'm on the 6th boss of my run so far. So I've still got some ways to go, but I'm loving Bloodborne. I just want to finish that, and then I'll be on Elden Ring. Insatiable Hunger, thanks to the 5. React to Whitebeard versus Madara fan animation. It's like 1 minute. Same with Shanks versus Sasuke by Toro TV. Oda keeps off-screening and blue-balling. I need more Whitebeard. Okay, we got some time. I can do this. So I'm going to say order of events, and I'm just going to pin this real quick. Order of reactions. I'm going to start with the One Piece anime stuff. What, fuck. Can I not do enter? Fuck. Okay, let me delete these. I can't, like, add another space. Okay, order of reactions. All right. Order of reactions. I'm going to do people want me to do the Stussy scene? I can do the Stussy scene. Stussy scene, Luffy, Lucci, PTSD, Akash Panda's video, Whitebeard versus Madara, fan animation? That's a rough thing. Quiet says just start Elden Ring. I love Bloodborne. I want to finish this before I play Elden Ring. I just do. Because I feel like I want to play all of From Software's catalog kind of before getting to Elden Ring, because I've just heard that Elden Ring's kind of it brings a lot of everything that it's done in the past together into one giant package. So I kind of just, it's just a me thing. I like experiencing that full, like if I'm, what's an example? So I'm about to, one director who I haven't watched who I haven't watched yet is Andrei Tarkovsky, right? I really want to watch his films. I could jump ahead to his most famous ones, most iconic ones, but I'm kind of want to start with his. Like, I'm just the type of person I want to start with the early ones and then build to that. Basically, it's just the way I am. Okay. Sorry, it's just the way it is. Wade Turner says Remix King video 2. Unfortunately, he said his is an hour long, so I cannot do that functionally. Okay. I'm gonna pin this shit. Okay. Let me find the Stussy scene. Does anyone know what the Stussy scene is? Because I've just been saying Stussy scene. I don't really know what that means. Stussy attacking Luffy, not Luffy, but like what do you call? Stussy betray CP0. That's gotta be it. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm sure it's this. You guys will tell me if it's not this. I'm sure. Right? It's this, correct? Nesto G says you will definitely appreciate Elden Ring more after playing Bloodborne. Yeah, it's kind of like I played Dark Souls before playing Dark Souls 3. And even though pretty much everyone was saying just skip to Dark Souls 3. I swear I know I did it in the right order. Playing Dark Souls and then playing Dark Souls 3 was 100% better. If I did Dark Souls 3 first, I would not have appreciated Dark Souls 1 nearly as much. And I wouldn't have appreciated Dark Souls 3 as much. Okay, you guys ready? You guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see. Okay. All right, let's go. I fucking forgot that, like, she caught Kaku like this, and now Kaku fucking loves her and everything. Like, they're fucking in love. She really did him like that. Oh, whoa! That's cool. I like how they cut to create black bars, top, bottom. Ooh. Damn. This canonically puts Stussy above Zoro. Zoro's just like, alright. Alright, that was a good scene. I like that. Maybe Kaku's into that. Stussy scene is famous because of horny motherfuckers who swag needy Toei Defender. What am I watching now? What was next? What was next on the list? Luffy Lucci PTSD? Alright, hold on. Luffy gives Lucci PTSD. I love the Luffy versus Lucci fight too. That was phenomenal. Okay. I've seen this though. I've seen the fight. Maybe this came from this was probably from the next episode that I didn't see. Or did I see this? I forget. I don't think I've seen this. I might be wrong. I really don't think I've seen this. No, I don't think I've seen this. Oh. Oh, whoa, shit. I love that. I gotta watch that PTSD moment again. That's beautiful. Oh. Yeah, that was awesome. I love that. All right. Before we get into the other videos, is there anything else? Any other anime clips that people want? Any other anime clips that the people want while we're here? I know we've still got Akash Panda's clip, Akash Panda's video, Whitebeard versus Madara fan animation. Is there anything else from the actual anime that people want before we get there? Akash Panda says, Morj, Lucci said the exact same thing after the first Gear 3 attack. Yeah, to be honest, in the first fight, Lucci was actually kind of lucky that the ships were there, you know? I watched Emu destroying the Lucia. I think that's a phenomenal scene. Okay, so we saw the main ones. I know the majority of really, really great Egghead anime moments are going to be coming basically from the Shanks scene onwards, right? Again, Hachinosu, Reverie stuff, and then everything that's coming with like Luffy, Kizaru, Saturn. I can't wait for Saturn's reveal. Can you guys imagine how they're going to do all the Gorosei reveal? I think that's going to be just fucking amazing. Okay, let's go. Akash Panda, what am I watching? What was the thing? Madara versus Whitebeard? Alright. Let's watch that first. Akash Panda. Okay, and then I'll watch One Piece Gulag. Let me watch Madara versus Whitebeard. You said it was by Tora TV, right? Okay, this is 4 minutes long. I'm just going to remove this and say One Piece Gulag. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I'm watching Madara versus Whitebeard right now. I'll give you guys the clip in case you guys want to watch it as well. This is what I'm watching at the moment. Silhouette saying, watch Sanji barking for Stussy. I've seen that. It is what it is. It's just Toei. It's just what they got to do to fill out the time. I feel like, okay, my personal feeling is that I don't think Madara can box with Whitebeard, you know? I think Madara, I think Madara should lose after that, after a couple of Whitebeard. Like, I think close quarter combat is just not, I think you gotta pull out the Susanoo or something, you know? I think Madara has way greater variety of, like, large-scale special techniques and stuff than Whitebeard, and that's where he's gotta make his money. You can't just come up and start trying to fist fight Whitebeard, you know what I mean? Because One Piece characters are generally physically stronger than Naruto characters. You know, Naruto characters they're not doing the physical strength feats that One Piece characters are. Unless you're like fucking Guy. But Naruto characters have more special ability variety, you know? Yeah, and rocks aren't going to work either, because rocks are kind of like rocks, meteorites, and stuff. This is good fan animation. It's not crazy. I think it's pretty good. I'm not seeing anything crazy just yet. I swear there's fan animations I've seen of certain things where I'm like, this could be as good. Like, this could air in an actual episode. This is cool. Yeah, Susanoo versus Whitebeard. That's a good matchup. That's a really good matchup. That actually feels like it should be about even, arguably. Because Susanoo, like it can swings of its sword can cut mountains and everything like that. That's around where Whitebeard with the Guru Gonomi and Haki. I feel like that's around that same area. It's a cool concept. Oh shit. Oh, hold on. 1 second, please. Hi, is this DoorDash? Oh, are you here already? Okay, yeah. Just stay right there. You see gates on either side? Just stay right there. I'll be down. Okay, thank you. All right, bye. All right, I will be right back. I'll be right back. Oh, I can do full screen, right? I can do full screen for this. Here. I can do full screen for this. I'll be right back. So Agni says Whitebeard doesn't need Haki to destroy mountains, just physical strength. I feel like at a certain point, it's hard to tell where One Piece characters like physical strength, like what's just physical strength versus what's Haki. I don't know. It's hard to say. Especially because Haki was invisible for the majority of pre-time skip. I'll be back. Give me 2 minutes. Just watch, I don't know, something. Watch this. All right. I'm not going to play it just for you guys, but watch the still screen, basically. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, I'm gonna continue playing this. So his audio's off. Here, I'll show you what he did before. He charges up a big attack. Oh shit. Oh shit, I love that. That is really cool. That's just conceptually a really cool way to depict that attack. So that breaks the Susanoo. Okay, so this is done by a One Piece fan. Whitebeard beats Madara. I like that. Oh, what? Oh. Never mind. Oh, shit. Never mind. Alright. Alright. What a twist. Did I miss something here? No, I'm not trying to scale Naruto versus One Piece. I think especially because later on Naruto gets like really crazy. Like, isn't Boruto like, I don't know, is it like moon level and stuff like that? I'm just saying, like, in pure fisticuffs, aren't One Piece characters generally stronger? Remix King, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 17 months. So Morj, since you're a confirmed liar, will there be a time before summer is over when you react to the Pokemon Adventures vid? Okay, Remix King, what's the video again? Can you just tell me the title of the video? And what's the last thing I'm supposed to watch? I'm supposed to watch One Piece Gulag. One Piece Gulag. Here we go. Okay, this is long. What's the correct one? Is it this? Okay, I'll just watch a bit of this, but I can't be. This is like 10 minutes. This is 10 minutes. Please turn on sound for your video. Dude, I don't know. I think I get copyright struck for this shit. Fuck. I feel like I'm gonna get copyright struck. Dude, Cash Ben, I don't know if I can watch a 10-minute video right here, especially with audio on. I don't think that's a thing. Do you have a shorter thing? Do you have a short? I also really want to eat. I wasn't planning on the adventures, reading Pokemon Adventures. I wasn't planning on the stream going this long. The plan was mostly to watch One Piece 1112. Akash Panda, do you have an alternate suggestion or alternate request? I see something that says Shanks is him. This seems like it could be funny. Alright, for the purposes of this, I'm not watching anything else unless it's a One Piece anime clip, I think. Sasuke versus Shanks. I could watch Sasuke versus Shanks. Andrew Anami says Freudian slip from Morj. It's because I'm reading chat at the same time. So it's like, I think Freudian slip, it has to come purely from your own brain. I'm reading chat at the same time, so I guess it's still a Freudian slip, I suppose. Okay, I'll watch by that guy. I saw it in the sidebar. Here, let's watch Sasuke versus Shanks. Watch a little bit of this. This will be quick, relatively speaking. This is an interesting matchup, too. I wonder if he's going with, like, end-of-story Sasuke or what? Also, Shanks is just like, we don't even know what the fuck. He's got one move. It's Divine Departure. What's he going to write this fight around? Kosh Panda's sending a link here. Here, let me copy this. I'm going to open up your link. Sorry, Remix King is sending me that. I'll open up your link, Remix King, so it's at least opened on stream, and then we can see about it. It's an hour long, though, right? See, this is the thing. I don't think that Sasuke could fight sword to sword with Shanks. If you want to say Sasuke can beat Shanks overall, that's fine, but, like, sword to sword, I don't think that's a thing. Like, Shanks splits the sky with people when he clashes with them sword to sword. I don't think he can do this. I don't think Sasuke can... Like, Sasuke couldn't even handle Killer Bee. I don't think Sasuke can be blocking all this stuff, you know? Like, not without Susanoo and things like that. I don't think that's me being just a One Piece fan. It's just... I just don't think Sasuke was ever doing that, right? Unless things have changed in Boruto. In Boruto, it's like Sasuke way stronger with his sword. But this isn't Boruto Sasuke. This is like... This is Naruto Shippuden Sasuke. Yeah, like here. Okay, if he's using jutsu and stuff, then it's interesting. Oh, shit. Holy shit. I wish we'd seen some Susanoo come out there. Oh no, it's still going. Oh shit. Whoa. Yeah, there we go. This is what I would have wanted to see. Shanks just looks so ridiculous running around with just one arm and his sleeve flopping around. Yeah, these were moves that Sasuke was pulling out in his final fight against Naruto. This is the big boy shit. Did he go to heaven? Is that Yugi? Yugi Muto? Well, it's Yugi! He's holding a deck of cards! Am I a complete idiot? Is this Yugi? Right? Is this not Yugi Muto? And he's holding a deck of cards? What is this? Who's this person? What's happening here? What's happening there? What's that a setup for? Who's this? What's being dropped here? Is this Escanor? Is this Escanor? This is kind of like Escanor's. I've seen enough of Seven Deadly Sins to know that this looks like Escanor's thing. Silhouette saying probably Escanor. Why Yugi can't fight Escanor? It wouldn't be a card game. A lot of people don't know, but the dual monsters that are summoned, they're just holograms. They're not actually anything, except for once you get to Egyptian gods, and then it's implied that they're real. And then there's a whole arc when they go back in time to the ancient Egyptian era, which it's real, but it's in general, that's not what this is. All right, I guess Yugi versus Escanor. I don't know if anybody. Some of these matchups, like Whitebeard versus Madara, that sounds cool. Sasuke versus Shanks, that you can understand why somebody like that's very clicky, right? I don't think there was a single. There might not have been a single human being on the planet who ever before this was like, hey, I wonder what would happen if Yugi Muto fought Escanor. I don't know if those two names would ever even have appeared in the same sentence. So I don't know what this guy's on, but you know his animations are cool. He was just like, all right, we're gonna go through the most popular character matchups I can imagine: Whitebeard Madara, Shanks Sasuke, Yugi Escanor. Don't know, but you know it is what it is. All right, everybody. I'm going to call it a day here. I'm really happy I watched that episode. It was really, 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 really fucking good. Really fucking good. 11 out of 10. Amazing stuff. I'm looking forward to watching more Egghead Island episodes, honestly. But, yeah. I'm going to call it here for today. And I'm going to eat some food. And, yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. Bye.